This might be the hardest TV show video I've ever done. What's going on, guys? I'm Chris and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going through my top 10 favorite seasons of television ever. Now I need to specify a few things. These are my personal favorite seasons. There's also not a lot of sitcoms on here just because it's hard to pinpoint one specific season as opposed to storyline driven shows like a lot of the others on this list. And the most important rule I've set for myself is I'm only picking one season per show because I wanted there to be some variety on here. But before I get in this thing, be sure to hit that like button and drop your favorite seasons of television in the comments down below. Subscribe and hit that notification bell to help reach my goal of 100,000 subscribers here on the channel. It would mean a lot. And check out the Unusual Couple podcast link down below for weekly podcast episodes with myself and my girlfriend Cam. We have a blast with that. All right, so kickstarting this list at number 10 is going to be Daredevil season 3. Now I could have picked any season of Daredevil, but 3 was the standout to me. This is one of those few pieces of superhero media where it feels like all hope is lost for our hero for the majority of the runtime. Like, Kingpin is owning the city here. He's got control of pretty much everybody, and Matt Murdock's Daredevil has to climb out of hell essentially and get back up and fight. It reminds me a lot of The Dark Knight Rises when Bruce Wayne is at his all-time low and he's got to rise up for the greater good. That's what Matt Murdock has to do in this season, and I never fail to get chills in multiple moments. There's episodes that flesh out side characters like Karen Page. There's episodes with huge reveals regarding Matt Murdock's character and his familial ties, but Kingpin is at his best here. It also gives us Poindexter, who we would come to know as Bullseye by the end of the season. You've got hateable villains, shocking moments, insane action, and all around it is one of the better seasons of superhero media that I've ever consumed, so it had to get a spot here. But coming in at number 9 from the same universe is The Punisher season 1. I know this might be a hot take to a lot of people, but again, it's my favorite list, and I love the character of Frank Castle so much, and I think a lot of that is credited to Jon Bernthal's performance. He owns this role. He's trying to lay low, but just when you thought he was out, he gets pulled back in. There is some brutal action here and really iconic moments for this character, but the dynamic between Frank Castle and Billy Russo easily makes this season what it is for me, as they have a past together and we see that established through flashbacks, but not everything is as it seems in the current day, as there's some backstabbing going on possibly. The Punisher's action-packed, brutal as hell, and I just feel for this character and his relationship with David Lieberman, who's actually played by Eben Moss-Backrack, who's Richie from The Bear. There's so much to love in The Punisher. I give it the edge over Daredevil based off personal preference just because of my deep admiration for Jon Bernthal's Punisher character. He owns the role, and I could just watch this man in pretty much any show or movie for hours. I love him. At number 8 on my list, I'm going Cobra Kai season 5. This is my favorite season of Cobra Kai because it's got the most payoff. Like, this is where all the stakes feel the highest and all the character relations almost come full circle. Like, to me, Cobra Kai season 5 could have effectively ended this show. It ties up a lot of loose ends and characters finally feel redeemed, at least in my eyes. There are amends that are made between characters, there are awesome fights in this, and it just feels the most grand in scale. Terry Silver is wreaking havoc on everybody, and while it does get the most over the top and cheesy, it fully embraces that, and the show has never strayed away from the fact that it is cheesy. I mean, go back to the original Karate Kid. As awesome as that movie is, it's got that 80s cheese, and the Cobra Kai series has never strayed away from that. Season 5 is no exception. This is the most badass season of the show. There's tons of awesome callbacks to that Karate Kid trilogy, and like I mentioned, the characters that we've grown to know and love from the new generation and the old generation have so much rewarding payoff here, and it feels like everyone's finally a family as we head into that final season. I hope it sticks the landing because Cobra Kai season 5 was a badass. But coming in at number 7 on my list, I've got The Bear season 1. Now, season 2 is fantastic, and the 1-2 punch of episodes 6 and 7, Fishes and Forks, almost made it take the spot over The Bear season 1. But I'll never forget the first time I watched the first season of The Bear. I binged it rather quickly. It's just such a simple yet effective story. You've got this character in Carmy who was this top chef in New York for his age, and then his brother dies, and so he has to go take over the family restaurant, the Original Beef, that's kind of a shithole, honestly, and he just feels down in the dumps. But we see over the course of these 8 episodes that he's got a lot of anxiety, panic attacks, and some mental trauma that he's got to work through. And there's a monologue near the end of this season that is so fantastic. Jeremy Allen White deserves all the praise he gets for owning the role as Carmy, but you've got this sort of dysfunctional family vibe in the back of this kitchen. And as someone who worked in fast food for a bit, they nail that tone and the chaos of when a restaurant is busy, how people are just shouting and yelling. Like, it can seem over the top and overstimulating even, but it's accurate. The one-take episode blows my mind every time I watch it. It's so impressive how they got that done. Simply put, this is a beautiful show. Like, on the surface level, it's about these cooks in the kitchen mentioned, but there's so much more. It tackles the struggle with mental health and dysfunctional families, and even finding a family. If it's not your conventional God-given family, you can find a family with those around you. It's a very beautiful season, and I could rewatch season 1 of The Bear forever. Season 2 almost made the spot, however. At number 6 on my list, I've got Ted Lasso season 1. Far and away the best season of Ted Lasso. As much as I do enjoy elements of 2 and 3, season 1 takes the cake for me. I mean, the dart scene alone, you've probably all seen it, is in season 1, and that's just incredible. But this season functions as a one-off pretty much. Like, it's a show that's simple. It's this American football coach in Ted Lasso who goes and ends up coaching AFC Richmond in soccer, or football as they call it over there, and that's all there is to it. There's some great life lessons told here. Every episode pretty much ends on a high note that makes you feel good, and that's what I've loved about Ted Lasso. It's a comfort show for me. Watching this show and seeing these characters go through their struggles and working their problems out, it's relatable. And Ted Lasso has always been the definition of a feel-good show. Season 1's the most rewatchable to me. The episodes are a bit shorter, and I just adore everything this has to offer. When it comes to episodes, there's not really a miss in season 1. Bringing us into the top 5, I've got The Mandalorian season 2. I'll never forget this era. It was the back half of 2020, and season 2 of The Mandalorian gave us things I never in a million years thought we would see. We got the return of Boba Fett, we got Bo-Katan in live action, but most importantly, gave us Luke Skywalker returning after Return of the Jedi to take Grogu away. This is when The Mandalorian was at its best, where there were side quest episodes, but they were important and came full circle by the time the finale rolled around. You also had the return of so many awesome characters. It's like Mando was assembling his own squad to go take down Moff Gideon. The stakes were the highest that I ever felt. It was relevant each week, and it felt a lot like Clone Wars, where you would have this new band of characters introduced in an episode, and Mando would go on a mission with them, and they may or may not return later. That's what I really liked about season 2 of The Mandalorian. Plus, it gave us Luke Skywalker at the very end. The dark saber lore is further explored here. I mean, I'll never forget when I watched the season finale of this. I wish I had my reaction recorded because my jaw was on the floor. It was a Star Wars fan's dream come true, and The Mandalorian season 2, without question, to me, is the best season of that show. At number 4 on my list, I've got Better Call Saul season 6. This is the final season of Better Call Saul, and it did a wonderful job of tying a bow on like the prequel story that is Better Call Saul, but also wrapping up the entire Breaking Bad universe with the post Breaking Bad timeline. Every season of Better Call Saul, we'd always get like 1 or 2 scenes that involved Saul Goodman post Breaking Bad, where he was Gene and, you know, managing the Cinnabon. We finally get to see actual payoff to that whole storyline, and it ends on such a high note. Like, one of the best series finales I've ever seen, honestly. But on top of that, you've got those Breaking Bad season 4 and 5 vibes, where this show starts out on a lot smaller of a scale, but it builds to that Breaking Bad level drama and tension, and we see that pay off with characters like Nacho. But all around, I adore this final season of this show, and I mean, to me, Saul Goodman is the best character in the entire Breaking Bad universe, and this season really solidified that for me. But speaking of Breaking Bad, season 5 of Breaking Bad is next on my list. It really doesn't get better than this. Even though I might prefer Better Call Saul today over Breaking Bad as an overall show, Breaking Bad season 5 was outstanding. Every character has a perfect send-off. Walter White's character arc comes full circle here. Jesse Pinkman has his moment. Obviously, we got El Camino, but just basing it off the end of Breaking Bad, it was perfect. Now, I almost went season 4 because I know that's the constant Breaking Bad discussion. Season 4 versus season 5, I think we have stronger main villain and threat in season 4, but seeing where Walter White ultimately ends up and like the final decisions that lead to his ultimate fate in this season play out feels so rewarding as a viewer. As much as I love every season of Breaking Bad, season 5 takes the top spot for me, and my 2 favorite episodes of the show are Ozymandias and Felina, and they're both in this season. It had to be on this list. My runner-up for my favorite season of TV is Game of Thrones Season 4. Now, Season 6 contains my 2 favorite episodes with Battle of the Bastards and Winds of Winter, but Season 4 is a straight-up trial season. There's a massive death in the second episode of Season 4, I won't say who, but that sort of launches the events of Season 4, where Tyrion Lannister is on trial for murder, even though it wasn't him who did it. Pedro Pascal plays Oberyn in here. You've got the Hound with Arya this season. They're such a fantastic duo. My favorite character in the show is the Hound, and he's got a big season here, and Jon Snow's with the Wildlings in this season. But the last few episodes of this season are some of the best. You've got the Watchers on the Wall, which is the huge battle with the Wildlings. You've got the Mountain and the Viper, where you've got Oberyn fighting the Mountain. And then the final episode, The Child, has the whole Tyrion Tywin scene. I won't say what happens there. But you've also got Brienne versus the Hound. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Tyrion's big moment this season in The Laws of Gods and Men, where he says, "I did not kill," I don't want to say who, "but I wish that I had." As amazing as Game of Thrones is across the board, for the most part, season 4 is the highlight season for me, where every episode is consistently great, the main story is so enthralling, and there are like multiple all-time great episodes of TV here, week after week. It is the best season of Game of Thrones to me. But my number one favorite season of TV ever is Stranger Things season 4. This came out over a year ago, last summer in 2022. We had volume 1 and volume 2, and I'll never forget this era. It was truly special. Stranger Things is my favorite piece of media ever, so it's no surprise this is number 1 on my list, but I think this is the grandest season of the show. Obviously, we got introduced to Eddie Munson, and Vecna is the new big bad villain who's introduced, but it's also the darkest season of the show. Like, each season of this show has a different tone, and this one commits the most to the horror vibes. Like, there are some horrific kills here when Vecna's killing Chrissy or Fred. Like, it's brutal. But it also contains the episode Dear Billy, which the first time I watched, to me, was like an out-of-body experience. When we hear running up that hill and Max is running away from Vecna, outstanding. But what I commend this season for the most is the fact that it brings everything together. Like, the trajectory is set for the final reveal of the Upside Down and what it really is in the final season, but we got the whole Henry Creel, Owen, and Vecna reveal in episode 7, The Massacre at Hawkins Lab, which blew my mind. Like, I was so shocked when we found out that Henry Creel was 01/Vecna. There's a big bad villain in Stranger Things now, who's gonna appear in season 5, obviously. But of course, we got the piggyback episode, which is the final episode. It's damn near 2.5 hours long. Like, it's an actual cinematic event. You got the Master of Puppets moment there, and of course, Eddie's death. But like, scene after scene in that finale is like all-time great stuff. Hopper and Elle's reunion, the final moment of the season when we've got our gang facing off against Hawkins and the smoke rising up. There's murder mystery vibes with the whole Creel storyline in the first volume. Volume 2, we kind of see this payoff, and it's epic. The soundtrack's the best it's ever been in Stranger Things. The characters are the most lovable they've been, and I just cannot wait for the final season of this show. I could watch Stranger Things 4 pretty much every day. I still think about this season every single day of my life, and I cannot wait for the final season of this show. But Stranger Things season 4 takes the top spot for me. But that is it for my top 10 favorite seasons of TV of all time. Let me know yours in the comments down below, and be sure to hit that like button. Subscribe and hit that notification bell to help me reach my goal of 100,000 subscribers here on the channel. It would mean a lot. And check out the Usual Couple podcast link down below with myself and my girlfriend Cam. We do weekly episodes, and it's an absolute blast. But thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, I'll see you guys later.